All right, good evening. Welcome to the pop-up. Your host, the Big O, coming to you live from the Black Media Matters studios in downtown Seattle. Man, this is Together We End Gun Violence Week, and man, it's already off to an impactful, very impactful start. Last night we had Janine Lewis and we had Lanisha Landry talking about the parents' experience losing loved ones to gun violence, and literally, man, turning that pain into purpose out here working in community. And tonight we take more of a government lens, and so we'll be checking in with our partners over at the King County Regional Office for Gun Violence Prevention. Hey. I got that right. Matter of fact, you know, I thought about it last night. We need to tell people a little bit more about the King County Office of Regional Gun Violence Prevention. Do you have that up there, Eric? Okay, fantastic. Well, this office right here seeks to prevent and eliminate gun violence and ensure equitable health outcomes for all by providing life-affirming care and resources to the individuals and families who are the most impacted by unjust systems. Man, that's a lot right there, but you know what I'm saying? I think we could sum it up even shorter than that and saying it like, man, they're out here trying to keep us safe in King County and across King County. Before we dive into the show as a whole, got to give a big shout out to We Rise Wines. We Rise Wines, Jamila Conley. They're located on 2nd Avenue, right across from the Moore Theater. Pop up over there. Man, it's really as far as bias. You can get all the best wines. The food is slapping, by the way. There's also event space there. It's a great place to go for like business meeting. Take a business associate or a date, somewhere in between, business date, however you get down. But We Rise Wine is a great place to be. All right, let's go ahead and put this camera on wide here, Eric, and I can introduce my esteemed guest. We have Eleuthera Lisch, who is no stranger here to Converge Media or to the Black Media Matters studios, and you are the director of the King County Regional Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. It's a delight to be here, and let me be the first of all the fans to wish you an advance happy birthday. I know it's your birthday week, and it's an honor to get to celebrate your life.
Yeah, hello. Hey, it's an honor to be alive, especially these days. And a super familiar face here in the studio, but today is in a very official capacity, and you can tell by his posture.
Okay, you see how my legs cross, America?
We are serious.
Deaunte Damper is a community engagement specialist, also over there at the county.
ROGVP.
Oh man, that's
we're gonna hit you with a little government. That's a little government.
I know you can't do your job without acronyms.
Yeah. Okay.
and that's one of them here. And I can just say that I can appreciate your very stoic posture here and everything else. You know
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's giving government.
Is it really what it is? Maybe it's my Ross shoes, but okay. But really happy to be here tonight with you all. This is a topic that I already know is dear to Converge's heart, community's heart, and when we're talking about popping up, this subject is we need to be popping up for. So happy to be here.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so the way that the show works is that we start off with some news and headlines. And, we kind of give our thoughts. Now, and considering you guys work for the man, Charlie Bobo, the government, the fuzz, the county, I know it's only so deep that you can go on some of these headlines, but it's okay. We'll move through it. All right, we're going to hop right into it. First thing up, please, Mr. Director. This says here, FIFA World Cup brings Seattle to global stage during Pride Month. In a recent column in the Seattle Times, columnist Naomi Ishisaka, hey, that's my buddy. We went to Garfield together. We should be on the school paper. Details how Seattle is leveraging its role as a host of the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup during Pride Month to highlight the region's commitment to inclusion and its LGBTQ plus community. Local World Cup organizers are promoting a How We Pride video and social media campaign and a June 26 Pride March, despite international attention and objections from participating teams, Egypt and Iran, both of which criminalize homosexuality. The initiative features numerous community leaders, including soccer stars Megan Rapinoe and Puyallup Tribe Council member Annette Bryan, and seeks to present Seattle as a welcoming and inclusive city. All right, somebody I know that knows a lot about Pride. I don't know how much you know about World Cup, but are you seeing right now in the city kind of a dovetail between this FIFA energy and Pride energy?
I am seeing both, which I am excited for. I haven't sat. It's been a long time. I went to a Sounders game, but I'm not too much into FIFA. But I'm excited for our community. It's a big deal for Seattle. It's also a big deal for my LGBTQIA plus community. But again, as we're excited at folks coming here, there is a bigger conversation that's happening here, right? And that is the safety for our queer folks. And shout out to Silent Task Force. It's also the safety for Black women that are out here in this community. So I am excited that these folks are coming, right? But I also want to know, what does it look like to ensure the safety of the folks that are here? And I'm excited about the marching. I'm excited about FIFA coming here. But again, we just need to be laser focused on the safety of us.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, considering safety is a big part of what you do at your job, it's almost like a default that you're very concerned about safety. But Eleuthera, any thoughts here on this FIFA energy and Pride energy coming together here in the Emerald City?
Well, it's two really powerful forces coming together that are really positive and uplifting for so many people. And to consider that those might be in any kind of opposition to each other or in conflict with each other would be a real pity. And I'm really hopeful. I'm excited to see what the city is doing. And I'll also note that public health, King County Sheriff's Office, King County entities are committed to public safety and the increased need to support all communities during the FIFA activations, what's going to happen around the city. And during Pride, we know we're going to stand strong with the LGBTQIA plus community, and excited to be of great support and a part of the rally of positive energy that's really here to uplift all.
Yeah, big shout out to the county. People forget, too. We actually had a story last week about how public health, which you guys are an extension of, right?
We're in public health.
Public health is dope, too, by the way. Just a quick note here. When the Morning Update show started back in March of 2020, and it was difficult to get information and everything else, public health found us. The morning update show broadcasting from right there on Jackson Street, and the people there were like, man, you guys are getting the word out to your community. And they were the first credible organization, government organization to ever reach out to Converge. And we've been rocking with them ever since. But they also talked about with the influx of so many travelers here, the best way, we talk about public safety, but there's also personal safety too.
Yeah,
that's right.
And so they're monitoring that. So big shout out to them. All right, we'll keep it moving here. Oh man, this is a sad story here. You got this one up here, Eric? Yeah. It says 16-year-old boy killed in shooting at Federal Way apartment. Yep. Okay. Well, we're not there yet, but it's okay. Oh, you got photos. Okay, well, let's go there.
This is a sad story?
What's it? Not so sad.
This is a sad story? I'm just...
Wait, The big old flag didn't get raised, so it's sad. Well, let's talk about this flag raising here. All right, so we got that. We need our monitors, by the way, please. Yeah, so the flag raising was yesterday, and man, Deaunte is so nice that they did it twice. I'm talking about they raised the pride flag over there at King County, and that was King County government who did the flag raising there. We saw the county executive, Zahalai, was there. And I mean, it was just crazy, though, to try to get him in a shot with you. Because, he's like 6'7" or something.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we got to zoom way out so we can make sure he's in the shot. But the county executive was there. There were several King County council members. But it was also a lot of just everyday county employees and supporters of the county that was there. And then we got on our hustle horse and ran all the way across the street to the city of Seattle, to the Bertha Landis night room right there. And that's where the LGBTQ Commission actually took the lead there on the flag raising. But you also have people like Mayor Wilson in the building and several other elected, Council President Hollingsworth,
Eric
Evans. There was a lot of people. So anyways, man, you raised the flag twice. This one is historic that you're the Grand Marshal of the parade, of Pride, actually, even beyond the parade. And now you participated in 2 flag raises in one day.
I felt like Beyonce yesterday. No, but it meant so much. Let me tell you something. I mean, if you look at the pictures, you'll see I'm wearing a jacket that a good friend gave to me. And it was actually woven by young women that are living with HIV.
Oh, wow.
And when I think back on my journey, I was just internally grateful to just be wearing that. I wore those women with me, and I have been proud and positive since 2013. So, and there are very many people that we have lost through HIV, through homophobia, through transphobia. So carrying that jacket in the county, in the city, was more than just a moment to me. It was a movement. And every time that I spoke, I felt those women moving with me. So I'm super grateful for every single person at the county. Shout out to Evelyn Chow, who did an amazing speech over there. And then shout out to everyone that spoke. There's too many people to name, but thank you, LGBTQ Commission, for putting on an amazing event. That was historic. One of the best flag raisings that I've been to. That speech just came from looking across and seeing somebody like Renee McCoy, who's been just such a strong advocate for HIV, knowing that Black-led organizations funding's getting cut. I had to speak for her. And I had to speak for every other person that was in that room that wants to rally. So it was an honor. How'd you feel being in there?
We'll get back to me. We're gonna stay in order over here.
Sorry.
I'm happy to weigh in.
You know what I'm saying? Eleuthera, I saw you over there at King County. You know what I'm saying? What were your thoughts yesterday in seeing your colleague here raising the flag?
Well, thank you for asking, and for giving me a chance to speak so publicly and having the opportunity to share how I feel. First of all, your pride makes me so proud. You are leading Pride right now, and you're uplifting so many people, Deaunte. But I want to take it back. You mentioned Evelyn Chow, and I had a chance to acknowledge her incredible speech where she invoked her 15-year-old self and what gave her her purpose in fighting this cause and the way she has brought herself to this work, which immediately put me back to remembering, as we often talk about, 16-year-old Deaunte. And what I got a chance to tell you yesterday is from the minute I saw you as a 16-year-old in the basement of the YMCA, I saw yesterday, and I've held that vision in my mind, and I've watched you transcend and become and explode into such a beautiful rainbow of color, and to share that with so many people. So I'm not, I know we're not blood, but I had a mother's pride. I had an auntie's pride. I am so so deeply proud of you, and it's an honor to get to stand beside you as a colleague and know the journey that you've been on and that we've been on together. And congratulations.
Thank you so much. There was one more other thing that I remember, and I want to really shout out Executive Zahalai.
Yes.
Because he acknowledged Juniper Blessing, and he also acknowledged this was a 12-year anniversary yesterday of losing the life of Deaunte Anderson Young, who was tragically murdered June 1st. So really want to just lift up the Anderson Young family. Shout out to Falana. But I really just appreciated our executive acknowledging something happened recently, and also something happened in the past, and we need to end this violence in our community. So
it was a beautiful space to hold, and it was really powerful to hear him speak his name.
Yeah, I'm usually kind of critical, like I'm supposed to be, of elected officials, But I will say that it was a really good energy that was there, and it was really timely. It's hard to compare the two. Well, it's two different things, but the City of Seattle program, which was a really good program, it was a lot of people. It was a lot of stuff in a little bit of time, and so there wasn't really a lot of time for people to speak as long as they want to, outside of the very guests. So even Mayor Wilson's comments were very short. They were. It was very nice and impactful. But they were short, but the executive had some time up there at King County and acknowledging the people from Metro, and acknowledging employees there and people who have really been on the front line in county government and pushing the line. So that was cool. But the best thing about this, and I don't know, is that right now the county is up 1-0 on the food. Okay, City of Seattle's food was cool too, and everything was great. But Eric, pork sliders and
shout out to Bear Nation. Shout out to
is
Bear
that what it
Nation.
was? Bear Nation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, kimchi rice.
Yeah.
Spam slider?
Fire. It was fire.
It was slapping. So here we go. Well, now they say joy follows sorrow, sorrow follows joy. This next story right here, this is the one I was on earlier. This is coming out of Federal Way, Washington, and it says 16-year-old boy killed in shooting at Federal Way apartment complex. According to video from Como 4 News, the 16-year-old boy was found dead after gunfire erupted at an apartment complex in Federal Way on Monday night. Around 9 p.m., officers were called to an apartment complex in the 2400 block of South Star Lake Road after residents heard gunfire. The victim died on the scene. According to Federal Way Police, the 16-year-old victim and the gunman knew each other. Detectives identified the suspect as a 28-year-old man. The circumstances leading up to the shooting are under investigation. Before I throw this out there, I know that you guys can't talk about investigations or anything like that. But first and foremost, we start on the human level here, is that, we lost another young person to gun violence.
And everyone lost to gun violence is someone's beloved. Everyone stolen by gun violence, taken by gun violence is someone's beloved. And I want to start by acknowledging the suffering and the pain that his family is feeling, and the community that surrounds their family is feeling, and how that pain also gravitates to and attaches to the other families that are grieving, because every time we lose somebody, it opens that portal of loss, and it affects so very many people. And a 16-year-old, it's unconscionable. Gun violence and guns and gun injuries are the leading cause of death for children and teens for the first time in U.S. history since 2020. And while there are statistics that will talk about gun violence going down, it will never matter to the individual lives lost and to the family, because that statistic of positivity isn't going to mean anything to their pain and suffering. And we are committed to standing and working alongside of all victims of firearm injury and gun violence, but our hearts are always with the survivors and the victims who are lost. And I just want to acknowledge that we also invest in organizations, and you're right, we cannot talk about investigations. It's too soon, and information is not available and wouldn't be ours to share. But we do invest in organizations that are providing services and supports, and I was able to check in with the organization that services Federal Way through our funding and know that they are connecting with the family and know that they are supporting that complex tonight, that apartment complex, and that they're actively engaging with the residents there to do what they can to prevent any further violence from happening. So that's what I do know tonight, and I know that we'll learn more in the days to come.
Right, and now Deaunte, separate from this tragic incident, Eleuthera just said something right here. What Eleuthera said is that the investments that the county has made in partnership in organizations that are serving local communities, and that the organization might try to reach out, touch base, connect with family, connect with what's going on there. I know we'll talk about it later in the show, but how important is that kind of work?
It's super important, especially within those first 30 days when any active shooting is happening, especially in an apartment space. We know that so many community folks are actually involved, so it's really important to make sure that ecosystem is tight. And that it's connecting with law enforcement, knowing that law enforcement is our first responders, but we also have our responders, our community responders that are out there that are able to give folks that wraparound service, especially restoration services. I really want to push that, so shout out to our hospital-based intervention team that is able to provide that resource, because a lot of families have needed that lift. And I believe that this is the 4th young person under the age of 18 that has lost their life this year in King County. And we want to just, one, of course, condolences to the family, but it is essential. I know that we have our first responders, but our folks that we have contracted out in that area can really give that community that healing response.
Yeah, I mean, it's real. We had a good conversation last night. I said with Janine and Lanisha, and yeah, anyways, I'll say that for later on in the show, because I try to keep it on time over here. I'm dealing with government, you know what I'm saying? we got to stay timely. We're going to talk a lot tomorrow, because we got lots of photo and video about the city of Seattle proclaiming June 6th Amar A. Sean Murphy Payne Day. That happened up there. Let's do a hand for that. Yes, that's right. I was there in the city council chambers today. You can see me on camera behind, wiping tears the whole time, and some of everything else. But and we had Aaron here a few weeks ago, leading up to this. So congratulations to him. And like I said, tomorrow in the show we're gonna have a whole bunch of video and photos from yesterday or from today. But one, of course, congratulations to them, but also the county. You guys had a proclamation or something happen here today as well, right?
Yeah, we did. And I do want to start by just congratulating Aaron and his beautiful wife and their beautiful other children and family, surviving children, and acknowledge we didn't get to be there because, yes, we were over at the county council chambers receiving a proclamation declaring Friday, June 5th, Gun Violence Awareness Day. And that's always important, but nothing as important as really uplifting Amar's incredible life and seeing the community rally and come together around his life. So June 5th is National Gun Violence Awareness Day. We are activating all over King County our firearm safe storage distribution. We'll be doing a series of events. I think we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Mm-hmm. So this was the council's acknowledgement of both the work of our office, the important work of the community providers and partners we work with. And it was important to me in that space, Omari, to uplift all the contributors to addressing gun violence, the first responders that are law enforcement, yes, and community providers, but also 911 dispatchers and firefighters and co-responders, because it takes everybody, and it was an important opportunity to get to name that today in council chambers and uplift everybody that contributes.
Were you there in chambers?
I was in the chambers, but you better believe right when that was over, I ran up the hill. I ran up the hill like back in the days. Like I was running out of Columbia Plaza, I ran up that hill. Because I think that what I want people to understand about Aaron Murphy Payne is the willpower of a father I've never seen. I've never. To me, I've never seen this much willpower in this space within the areas of this work. And it is with so much humility and grace, but also there's a light that man carries.
That's right.
The light that man carries is a light that he gives to other people, and those people then become light. You think of the areas like Garfield could be a space of a tragedy, but he comes there at least once or twice every quarter to do an activation for them. One, not to forget about to honor not just his son, but also himself, also the CD that he grew up in. He could be walking, he could hold so much anger, because there's a lot of folks that you could be angry at, but what he wants to give is love. And I'm just so happy for the city, thankful for the city of Seattle, because they were able to bless that whole family with love today. And I just want to just send out love to the family. I love y'all. But I'm telling you, the light that man carries is going to change this world. And the fact that he is saying, hey, fathers have a voice too. And it's having other fathers use their voice. It's the light. And I'm just so honored to just be walking alongside him. And he's also a proud partner of this week of Together We End Gun Violence. I'm so proud of him. You ain't gonna make me cry on here, but you know it's coming.
Not yet.
I just want to, if I could double down on everything Deaunte said, never nearly as eloquently, but we had dinner with Aaron and his family last night, and watching him reach out to and support, especially watching what's happening with the men. And I also want to acknowledge you, Deaunte, for being a force behind that, to see what they needed and to support him and James and others to find their way to each other and to uplift the power of fathers in addressing this. And seeing his leadership and feeling his spirit and hearing his ministry has been incredibly powerful. And we're honored to stand and walk beside him.
Yeah, no, good stuff. That's fam bam. Give him a big hug up there today.
And can we just say, if the food was bad yesterday, City of Seattle made up for it today. Because the food, shout out to Wally, because the food was delicious.
Wally, let's give Wally a hand.
I still got a plate in the car.
Best hush puppies I've ever eaten in my life. I just got to say that. I told him to his face last week.
Wally got it slap. Okay. So, yeah, hey, listen, this is a good week to hang out around city government, man.
I'm telling you.
We over here eating good,
I ain't bought no food for my house.
Come on. Keep it coming. All right. One last thing here real quick. We'll move through this one quickly. We'll go to A9 here. Eric, man, these are our buddies over the Seattle Medium. This is such a great thing that they got going. This is the Best of the Northwest Readers' Choice Awards, and this is really so dope. Like, I'm so happy, like, the Medium is doing this and everything else, because oftentimes we're looking to other media that's not necessarily representative of who we are and what we represent, for them to tell us who our favorites are. Mm-hmm. And so for the Medium to just be like, actually. So the Medium has announced the official nominees and the commencement of public voting for its inaugural Best of the Northwest Readers' Choice Awards, with voting running from June 1st to June 19th, and you can vote online at bestofthenorthwest.com. The program honors outstanding businesses, nonprofit, community leaders, educators, athletes, and cultural institutions making a positive impact throughout the Northwest. Now, speaking of Aaron got 3 nominations. Okay, he got like coach, he got like community leader, mentor. Also, your buddy Apollonia Washington.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I ain't trying to. I mean, they good. I'm nominated 3 times too.
What?
Yes, I'm not. You don't
what?
See. This is what you have to do. Community. Make sure you ask your friends, because he be liking stuff and don't be knowing. It's like, no. But I am nominated 3 times, and it's a blessing to be nominated for all 3 of those categories. But I will look in the camera and say, vote for Aaron, vote for Apple, Vote for Double Dutch Divas. Vote for Cortez Charles. Vote for Joaquin Garrett. Vote for all of those community folks. I mean, Ashley McGirt. Vote for all of those folks. I could tell you to vote for me, but we're all a part of this. We all winners in the space. We all grew up looking at the medium, and our names we're on their website. We're in their space. Like, vote for them. I mean, yes, if you want to vote for me, that'd be nice. But no, the folks that I just named are the people that are teaching me how to lead. So vote for them.
I'm just going to take his advice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it seems like
No, you just want to lift up. Most of the time, of course, you want to win. Oh, shout out to Freedom Project too. Yes, it'd be great to win, but it's an honor to be in that category with all them dope people.
This is true. We talk about this all the time here, though, man. It's okay to be a joyful receiver.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, can I hit the camera, please? Anybody that wants to vote for Deaunte, go ahead and vote for it. He got the receipts, just like everybody else is there. If you want to vote for other people. And, I don't know, it might be a scientific poll, might not. You might be able to vote for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Many times. Anyways, listen, we're going to take a quick break. You see how time flies, man? The show's technically halfway done, but, dealing with you guys, we'll charge for overtime. But we're going to take a quick break right now, and when we come back, we dive into some questions with Deaunte and Eleuthera about their work. You're watching The Pop-Up.
Black women in Washington faced more than twice the risk of syphilis in 2024, but cases are falling as we learn the facts and look out for ourselves. Yet 1 in 10 pregnant cases were among Black women, but more than half of potential congenital cases were prevented with early care. Early testing makes a difference. Get tested and protect yourself. Protect your child. Protect the community.
Hey, what's up, everybody? JD here. I'm tapping in to make sure you go to JuneteenthWA.com to find out everything that's going on and stay up to date on all the stuff that will be happening at Juneteenth this year. The event, we are moving to the beautiful Hobb Field and parking lot A down over there. Make sure you go to the website to hear about everything. We're having a car show this year. We're doing the Taste of Juneteenth this year. And on the main stage, we are bringing Erica Campbell, Crystal Aiken, and Life Jennings, and we have some great local acts that you may have heard of, maybe you haven't, but you will hear about them on Juneteenth. So make sure you go to the website to learn everything you need to know about the event. Also, you can RSVP on the event if you want to be a vendor, if you want to be a sponsor, if you want to be a food truck. All that is on the website, JuneteenthWA.com. If you want to sign up for the car show, JuneteenthWA.com. We'll see you here. Peace.
Studios in downtown Seattle. I am your host, Omari Salisbury. And now we're time to jump into discussion with Eleuthera Lisch and Deaunte Damper, both from the King County Regional Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Yes, hey, I got it. The director and community engagement specialist. So I have some well-curated questions for you here, so I can stay on task and on focus. We'll throw the first one out to you, Madam Director. What does it mean to take a public health approach to gun violence? Because as we mentioned before, your office is an extension of public health, one of the best in America and the world, by the way. An extension of it. What does it mean?
Thanks for asking that question. It's something that, the World Health Organization started calling gun violence a public health concern back in the 70s. And by the 1990s, late 1990s, people were recognizing and talking about it that way, but nobody had really codified what does it actually mean to take a public health approach. So in public health, we think about total population health. We got to think about everybody, and is everybody doing okay? And when we're talking about gun violence, it's a very small percentage of the population that's actually directly involved in the gun violence. And so when we take a public health approach to, let's say, a contagion or something that can spread, we do the same sorts of things. We look at the population who might have been affected and might be struggling with the thing and provide an intensive amount of services there, because if those folks are well and cared for and removed or moving away from the harm they may have been causing or be caused, then everybody benefits from that. It radiates out to everybody. So if the individuals who are at the center of violence are in a better place, then everybody else in the community surrounding them is going to be in a better place. It also means something kind of more pragmatic and practical. When we look at a public health approach, it's common, it's the same thing sort of universally. We look at what the problem is, we name the problem, then we look at the risk factors and protective factors. When we're talking about risk and protective factors with gun violence, the risk factors are deep and ancient as racism is in this country, as ancient as poverty is, as ancient as displacement, as ancient as marginalization. However far back that goes, that is one of the root and key problems that lead to gun violence. When we think about the protective factors, we look at, do people have the nutrition, do they need the housing they need, the education they need, the opportunities that they need? And when we talk about violence, we often talk about it as a disease so that we can destigmatize it and treat it and help people get well. So we name the risk factors, we name the protective factors, and then we start to implement strategies that we have to test. And when we're talking about that in the case of gun violence, there's well-tested strategies like law enforcement, but community-led organizations that do frontline community violence intervention, who put themselves between the harm and the other person, they jump in to stop a fight, they prevent a retaliation. This is a new kind of strategy. Community-led public safety effort is a new kind of strategy, and we're testing that. We're investing in that. And then finally, when we start to see those strategies work, we promote widespread adoption. If it works here, it's going to work over here, and the more we make more of it that's working, then we get to real population health and real population safety. We look at community-led public safety efforts as putting community in public safety. There's public safety infrastructure all around that, but community has been missing. And we often talk about, if gun violence is a disease, the community is the cure.
All right, so when I hear that and you put it in that public health kind of lens, and maybe that's why gun violence falls under this public health, it's almost like, and really, I've been in a few places in the world where there has been outbreaks and all kinds of stuff. I've lived all over. Mm-hmm. But so is it almost like, I don't know if this is kind of far-fetched, at least the kind of the concept or ideology in public health, is that here's an outbreak, you like you say, you surge in to the outbreak, see who's affected, who's closely affected, but then they go upstream and they're like, oh, you know what? This water coming into this place here was contaminated.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Well, man, we need to uncontaminate the water. But now also, what are the factors that are leading up to that? Exactly. Oh, okay. Well, people don't have, adequate plumbing, or they don't have whatever, so they're dumping something in the river. How do we fix their plumbing? And then you go up from there, kind of all the way upstream. So all the way from the epicenter out to try to address all the issues, or as many as possible, that might be causing an outbreak.
Exactly. The risk factors, right? Those are the risk factors. Those are the contributing factors that are leading to that condition of the outbreak. And that's really well said. It's a great way of a great analogy, the way you broke that down. That's right.
Oh, yeah, man. I've been around some funky outbreaks in my life, man. But, I haven't been around one that has lasted this long.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Did you have anything to add on to that, Deaunte?
No, that was perfect.
The director just came in.
I mean, I'm a man of many words, but I think she got it.
Okay. Well, I got one here for you, though. And this is a question I've had. Because it's like, even I know, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But now I know I know. How does the office address violence in King County?
You know, and that's a really, really great question. And I think one of the main things that we do is our coordination efforts, right, that our team does. And that is working with our municipal partners, our key decision makers in each of the 7 geographical areas. And that's working with mayors, with law enforcement, with schools, impacted families, really to strengthen up that ecosystem. And we check in with some of our South King County leaders, right, at least once a month to see like, hey, what is happening out there? Is there a need out there for us? Which we know that there is. Shout out to Kent. And really just come up with different ways that we can be able to strengthen that ecosystem of safety out there. Like Kent's gun violence, I think, has been down, 40%, I believe?
Significantly down.
Significantly. And we don't want to let that die out, right? So we continue just to protect, educate, and build that community. We also work on prevention efforts, such as our Stop the Bleed trainings, which I've been able to put on in all 7 geographical areas at this point now, within my year and a half of being here, working hand in hand with our team, just to make sure that folks are learning. We want to push out those prevention and education efforts all around this region to know that, hey, yes, our office is here and you too can save a life. Right. We did some responses just recently in Skyway. There were recently shootings out there. We were out there in 2 weeks. Shout out to Dare to Be and Silent Task Force, who asked for that resource out there for their community. We're also in the areas of our intervention space, right? So that's our RPKC, our Regional Peacekeepers Collective, which consists of 4 different organizations. You'll be hearing from 2 tomorrow, and that's Urban Family that's out there in Skyway. We have Community Passageways that's out there in Kent. We have Progress Pushers, which you'll be hearing from tomorrow, which is out there in Federal Way, Berrien, and in Weiss Center. And then you have the amazing Freedom Project that is out there in Renton. And from that, we're able to check in with each of those teams to really strengthen up that ecosystem of safety. And then when we talk about stabilization and restoration, as a community engagement specialist, that's a lot of the bulk of my work and really the heart of my work. Our executive talks a lot about being with community, and that's exactly what happens in that space. Being able to give a rapid response when gun violence impacts our community. Shout out to Rainier Beach, shout out to Kent. But being able to coordinate and work with law enforcement, being able to coordinate and work with community and our survivors to make sure that they're navigated to restoration services. The real goal of that is just to make sure that we're providing healing and continuing to see this is a disease. How can we get rid of it? I also would like to throw out there that we also facilitated different public safety meetings within the areas of White Center and in the Rainier Beach area, and we'll be going to Skyway next. Was that too long-winded?
No, I mean, I think for people who actually, wonder, like, what are you doing?
Right.
I mean, it's a good question. Like, right. I'll be honest, on the everyday, people are always asking government in general, like, what are you doing? And right. So, I mean, it seems like it's a long list on both the front end and the upstream side of the things that impact this gun violence.
And no single entity can do it alone. Everything we talked about, we're doing in partnership with other people, and important other people that Deaunte named, from mayors to police chiefs to community-led organizations. And those community-led organizations are employing folks who are on the front lines. And I want to say this about them, especially as you think about interviewing the folks that are coming in. I think Freedom Project and Progress Pushers are both going to be here tomorrow night. That workforce is 21 times more likely to die on the job than law enforcement, because they are in situations when situations begin to escalate and when they become dangerous, and law enforcement necessarily is responding to something after it happens. So it's just, I think we often don't understand what toll it takes and what it means to put yourself on the front line of potential threats of violence and to be there. And so I want to acknowledge that important work and recognize that that is a lot of sacrifice and a lot of heart and a lot of dedication. And we heard today, we were in the city of Kent, we were doing a spotlight on the work that's happening in Kent. And you all came out and helped us create a video where we looked at some of the 2 contributing factors to why gun violence is coming down in Kent. And I want to shout it out because we were just briefing their council this evening. gun violence in Kent is significantly reduced, as Deaunte said, but what's most important for us to look at in the investment we make is the community-led organizations that are out there every day are being recognized as freeing up law enforcement to be able to focus on their other necessary work of closing cases. And these organizations, Kent, specifically Community Passageways, is out there providing safe passage every day at hotspots that were identified by concerns that law enforcement had outside of Kent Meridian High School, other parts of the neighborhood where young people are during and after school, and also at the Kent Transit Center. And what statistic that the police chief was able to share with council tonight is that there were incidents consistently in both locations up until this organization was on the ground. From June of last year till December of last year, which is a small data set, we only looked at last year, there were 0 incidents in both locations, 0 911 calls in both locations. So I just want to recognize that our partnership, our investment, and the work that we are doing is having tremendous impact, and that's not something that we talk everywhere about. You're the first to hear it, hot off the presso. But it's important to note that we are able to get all parts of the system to now look at the contribution that community is doing to enhance and support that public safety work. So we're building holistic public safety ecosystems through the things that Deaunte named. These are proven effective strategies, and we are making sure that we can bring them to scale where they are needed. There are 10 communities and neighborhoods in Seattle and surrounding area in King County, about 10 that meet a threshold of showing us that there is a tremendous need, and we are resource dependent, otherwise we would be in all of those places. But seeing gun violence come down by 61% last year is really important to note. While every incident is unacceptable and every loss is always going to be tremendously painful, we also have to have hope and keep believing that this fight, this effort, and these investments, and our organizing and our community effort coming all together with government. We collaborate with government, we collaborate with community, and we're building a bridge, as Deaunte's often talking about, and being a compass for a community, but we're helping steer folks and guide them in the right direction, and we're really proud of that work.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's good and it's reassuring to know and actually hear directly from you guys because, especially with a title like that, it's like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? That it's like, oh, it's an assumption maybe that, different parts of your work. Clearly it's like, hey, let's reduce gun violence across the region. But to really get a picture of, from here on the ground in emergency rooms all the way to kind of upstream, that lens, that public health approach, that wider lens on the issue. I think that especially when we talk about violence, of course, most people's focus is right there at the epicenter. It's only natural.
That's right.
But it really does take a public health approach to now be like, okay, well, why? How? What are the contributing factors? Where can we impact and everything else? And later in the show, we'll also talk about how community, this is government's approach. There's also a community approach of how together we end gun violence. Right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, the conversation continues with Eleuthera and Deaunte. You're watching The Pop-Up.
Solutions for Seattle, June 17th, T-Mobile Park. Y'all know what it is. Log on to the website, www.solutionsforseattle.com, and be a part of youth empowerment. Let's empower the youth. This is a call to action, a ticket challenge. I need everybody to tap in. Y'all know what it is. Solutions for Seattle. Ole, 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 ole. Ole, 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 ole.
This summer, Metro connects the world.
Now's your chance to join the Days to Come Reading Challenge to ignite the civic imagination needed for racial repair in Washington state. Read, discuss, and take action until Juneteenth to bring Dr. King's vision of a truly just society to life. Visit saarcpnw.org for more information.
what's up, everybody? JD here. I'm tapping in to make sure you go to JuneteenthWA.com to find out everything that's going on and stay up to date on all the stuff that will be happening at Juneteenth this year. The event, we are moving to the beautiful Hobb Field and parking lot A down over there. Make sure you go to the website to hear about everything. We're having a car show this year. We're doing the Taste of Juneteenth this year. And on the main stage, we are bringing Erica Campbell, Crystal Aiken, and Life Jennings. And we have some great local acts that you may have heard of, maybe you haven't, but you will hear about them on Juneteenth. So make sure you go to the website to learn everything you need to know about the event. Also, you can RSVP on the event if you want to be a vendor, if you want to be a sponsor, if you want to be a food truck. All that is on the website, JuneteenthWA.com. If you want to sign up for the car show, JuneteenthWA.com. We'll see you here. Peace.
Salisbury coming to you from the Black Media Matters studio here in downtown Seattle. Man, continuing this conversation that we're having here with the King County Office for Regional Gun Violence Prevention.
Regional Office of Gun Violence Prevention. It's okay. You're going to get it one day.
I know. It's all right because it's also like a discussion point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now we're also joined by Ariana Donneville, and you are the communications lead.
Yeah.
So you communicate for this department, huh?
For this program, yeah, I do.
Yeah? Okay. And how long have you been with the department, the county?
I've been with the county. I think this is year 4. Yes. This will be year 4 with Public Health Seattle and King County, and it's such an honor to work with the team that we have. I think everyone is so, I know everyone is just so passionate about this work, and so as a survivor, it feels really good to be on a team where we get to be our full and authentic selves every single day and advocate for folks who have similar experience to our own. So
okay, this is good stuff here. You know what I'm saying? I know that it's got to probably be a challenge as well. There's so much information, so many things people want to know, and then there's also some things people can't know, and all that kind of stuff. We're actually going to got a clip here. All right, you won't hear it here, but our audience will hear it. This was back 100 days of action and 100 days of peace against gun violence. Mm-hmm. And in this clip, you tell Trayana Holiday how important the work of your office is to be on the ground level, and how you guys are looking to build relationships, and a lot of this work is relationship based.
Gun violence is not a matter of an individual, group, or community's problem. It's all of our responsibility and all of our problem, and yet it disproportionately impacts very specific people because of the constructs of racism in this country. There are communities right now that are also suffering in the Latin community, in the East African community, and Harborview. You're going to, I think, talk this week with the Harborview medical staff, the intervention staff at Harborview. They're telling us through the data that they're seeing more and more young people again, and we are seeing that this is the leading cause of death for children and teens in America since 2020 for the first time in U.S. history, leading cause above any other cause of death. And so I think it's important to recognize that we're not anywhere near done. We're just getting started. And our office has been received welcome to be in conversations where we commit ourselves to partner and walk alongside and not assume leadership, but recognize that each community is distinct and unique and has unique and distinct needs, and that we have to tailor our approach. And we humble ourselves to that and are doing everything in our power to meet that where it is.
Looking back at that now, I mean, how has your office come along? How has your work advanced since the last time that we were all together like this?
I really appreciate the question. You know, that was such an incredible opportunity, and to be in the Paramount Theater and to be surrounded by all the other folks that were sharing that week and bringing the story to life, and thinking back on what I said and the power and importance of partnership. I think in the last segment with Deaunte talking about the partnerships and how much they've strengthened to allow us to do work like rapid response work, and we're trusted to be out there, be with community, to show up on scenes, to do our part to support things. We are building these partnerships with mayors, I said, and police chiefs. It is exponentially grown since we sat down with Trey at that time. But I think for me, the most significant shift and what I had hoped then, I see now happening, which is really important to me, is being able to work more closely with survivors and hear their concerns more deeply and think about how we can advocate differently to make sure they're uplifted and resourced better. And that's a gap we've always recognized that we had. And while we haven't developed a ton more of financial resources, we've committed our team differently to be able to show up differently and to be able to fight in a different way towards including them in our efforts in a way that was not possible then. We just hadn't built ourselves to that place yet. But that's the most important heart portion for me about what change I see since that conversation.
All right. Now, Ariana, you were, this isn't just a job for you. In the sense that your life journey here, and I'll let you explain more of it, but you're not in this office by accident, and you actually have survived, what we might say as a survivor, much more than that, of course, but I'll let you share with the audience.
Yeah, for sure. So I became a survivor of gun violence when my mom was killed when I was 7. And while I became a survivor of gun violence when I was 7, I did not start identifying as a survivor, or I didn't know I was a survivor of gun violence until I started doing this work about 4 years ago. And I think that was largely in part with my family's grief process and the lack of awareness of the language to describe our experience. Definitely at the time and throughout my childhood and into teenage life and then going into college. And so I use that to guide the work that I do now in leading our communications and being just intentional about the stories that we tell, and also just raising awareness. Knowing that my family didn't have the language, they didn't know that there were support groups of sorts. My family is very loving, very close. We keep it together. We're we got this, we don't, I'm not going to say my family is not we don't need anybody, but it's just more so not knowing that there were peer groups, if you will, which sounds silly to say, for gun violence survivors. So when I started doing this work about 4 years ago, met the team and started learning more about what it means to be a survivor and how my experience losing my mother allows me to be, I shouldn't say allows me to be, but gives me the title of survivor, and learning how to apply that, like I said, into the work that I do. So just being able to tell stories from a lived experience, Lynn's being intentional about being a vessel for other survivors and their stories and raising awareness of the resources of their stories so that folks are aware of this cause. Has been a large part of my work.
Wow. Now, I'll keep it here with you, and this is a question for both of you guys, but what resources are available for those affected by gun violence?
Yeah. We heard a little bit earlier with Deaunte and Eleuthera. There are community-based supports. There are hospital-based supports. There are different activations, I would say, that our office does. We call them harm reduction activities, not to be confused with the harm reduction in the opioid space, but just harm reduction specific to gun violence and gun violence prevention. So we have free community Stop the Bleed trainings where we invite community members to come and learn how to or learn the skills that they would need to act during a time of crisis if someone sustains a life-threatening injury. We have our gun lockbox giveaways like we'll be having this Friday. We'll be in 7 different locations. We're also having one tomorrow in White Center. So if you're out there and you live in White Center and you need a lockbox, stop by the Bartels, the former Bartels parking lot. We'll be there from 12:30 12:30 to 2. That is 12:30 to 2 tomorrow. And we also have a community-based resource guide, and that does have different community-based supports, as well as has information about our hospital-based supports. We are in the middle of revamping that. So if you visit it right now, you can log on to kingcounty.gov/RGV to see the current community-based resource guide, which has a healthy amount of resources, but we'll be amping it up a lot, because what I've learned is that there are a lot more resources that are out there and available, and folks need to know about it. So we'll be raising awareness of those resources.
And I can add just a little bit to it. Ariana, she's humble when she says she's our communications lead. She's a double major journalist and communications expert, and is very, 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 very good at what she does. And watching the humility and grace with which you have done that work, and knowing your story and how you've uplifted other people, is really, I'm very honored to get to witness it and to get to work alongside of you. And the resources that are available, Ariana also leads our cross-departmental coordination work, because we recognize that the resources, if we don't have them, it doesn't mean King County doesn't have them. And what we're trying to do a much better job of is coordinating the resources and learning what other departments can do. So what we've pulled together now, and especially for unincorporated King County, where we are the government, so we have an obligation to make sure that whatever the Department of Local Services can do, King County Sheriff's Office is doing, Prosecuting Attorney's Office have, of course, their work in gun violence reduction. We're also looking at the DCHS and their work, and bringing in the opioid team from their behavioral health folks. And what that allows us to do, Omari, is to have a coordinated approach that brings all the resources that are available to bear. And Ariana's created an incredible resource guide, an inventory of what each department has to offer if a location has experienced a lot of gun violence and needs supports. So that's something that we'll also be able to make available to your viewers shortly. Currently, it's just being translated into languages. But it's really important for people to know who to call when they need help with certain things that gun violence has created. So that's another way we're providing resources to folks.
Yeah. I mean, it's people impacted, but people impacted by most traumatic events, need all kinds of support. It's like gun violence is in its own kind of space, where it's like if an apartment building burned down and people lost their housing, and then immediately it's like, oh, okay, well, here's the Red Cross, gonna do this, we've got blankets for you over there, because realizing that someone's lost their home, and then extenuating, trauma that might be on that, they've lost everything, and all that. And it's such a natural pattern that comes together. If a flood comes and washes out somewhere, or if, the forest fire, or anything else that happens. But it's like when it comes to these issues around violence, it's sometimes it's so piecemeal, and then sometimes even in government, it's like paralysis by analysis. Not your department, per se, but like I used to talk to council members for years, and I'd be like, it's okay to say something. You don't have to say specifically about this, investigation, what's happened, but it's okay to acknowledge someone's trauma. It's okay to acknowledge that a neighborhood's disrupted. It's okay to say that, man, your thoughts are with the elder who might now be scared to leave his home because something happened next door, and it's good to see that you guys are it's unfortunate that it has to happen, but it's good to see that you guys are working to formalize and normalize responses to people, because what I talked about last night with Janine and Lanisha is that hurt people, and your direct action from your office, but also these organizations where there's investment, and these guys are also they're rushing in to be able to offer support, because man, you just never know what that does to just bring a temperature down. And it's a lot of people. It's an easy choice to go retaliate. A lot of times people know who did something to their loved ones, and for them to be able to calm down. And so you're dealing with retaliation over here. You're dealing with a neighbor who's over here traumatized, don't want to leave the house. You're dealing with a business owner who's over here. He's like, man, I can't stay in business. Everybody's scared to come over here to the neighborhood.
That's right.
So there's all these factors. So it's really good that government actually sees it. I know it always takes time for government to catch up, but that you guys see it and understand and are trying to put things in place.
I appreciate you saying that. And Ariana shared her story, and I also want to highlight that everyone on our team has been impacted in one way or another by gun violence. Mm-hmm. So it's not abstract to us. And what happens is when it's personal, people activate differently. And so we're also proud to work in a government that recognizes that. This is in this administration to see people rooted in being within community and breaking cycles. And we're honored that our work aligns with that well. And we're also really invested in promoting what coordination can do for people. Because what you just talked about is somebody needs to stand back and coordinate the thing. And we often are fighting for resources without realizing that the resources are right in front of us. They're just not aligned, and they're not maximized. And then we don't identify the real gaps, and we start talking about other gaps. So what we're really hoping that our effort will yield is a better coordinated response that brings everybody's best foot forward, and that we are able to support directly impacted folks in a much more meaningful way. And that we will continue to see downtrends in gun violence, and that we'll be able to continue to uplift and connect survivors and bring as much healing forward as possible.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. I appreciate that. We're going to keep the conversation going. We're going to take a quick break here. And actually, when we come back, Deaunte Damper is going to rejoin us on the set. Thank you so much, Ariana.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and by the way, when you were talking about how Ariana's the business, I agree. because we be dealing with each other. And, she be ready for it. You know what I'm saying? She be ready for it, every time. And I do thank you for the great work that you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, well, we try. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching The Pop-Up.
Real ones show up for each other. In the barbershop, at home, in the group chat, we check in. Not just you good, but really good.
Because the health of your friends and family matter, and they need you to check in. Healthy men keep each other safe.
And real ones check in on the ones we love. Because when we tap in, we stay healthy together.
Discover the raw, essential story of Northwest modernism through the Seattle Art Museum's Beyond Mysticism. This exhibition features over 150 pieces celebrating the region's natural beauty and urban life. Get your tickets today at seattleartmuseum.org. We'll see you there.
Ole, 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 ole. Ole, ole.
This summer, Metro connects the world.
All right, welcome back to The Pop-Up. I'm your host, Omari Salisbury, a.k.a. The Big O, coming to you live from the Black Media Matters studios here in downtown Seattle. Deaunte Damper has rejoined the conversation, has rejoined the chat.
Happy to be here. Ariana was killing it. She's amazing. It's been an honor to work with her.
Yeah.
Seriously, though. I feel we talk about the bridge, but I feel like Ariana's really a big piece that helps build that. Working for the government is extremely. As a person that has worked with community for so long, it's been extremely tough. But I appreciate her guidance and also her vision. It really helps guide our office.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I be talking to Ariana, man.
Yeah, she be real. She be real.
Listen.
She ain't gonna lie to you either. She's a Capricorn like Trey, so that's all I got.
It be getting smoky. Yeah. But she be like, hey,
Straight truth.
Cause you know me, man. I be like, man, what? And Seattle a lot of times is like, well, Ariana be like, hold up, you know what? Let me tell you what we doing.
Yeah, right.
I love that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love that on the real. So, all right, this is one of the things that in government, and even if you were to ask us to Converge, what challenges do we face? Oh, man, I don't know. The show's not long enough. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. And then also, of course, when we go to government where things oftentimes are limited, and barriers are in the way sometimes, legislation, sometimes it's whatever. I have no idea. But I did want to give you some space here to tell us, man, what challenges do you face in doing your work?
Thanks for asking. And, I think those challenges are pretty universal. And I think you could ask most any of us right now what the biggest challenge we're up against. And it's almost always resources. And I just have to point out, under the former administration at the federal level, I got a chance to be a part of the transition team, form recommendations for the Biden administration on how to fund holistic public safety work. And we were able to secure upwards of $5.6 billion in a federal budget that fed this work to expand across the nation. And when the administration changed, it disappeared immediately overnight. And all those resources disappeared, and all those historic lows of gun violence that we're so proud to see happen started to slightly trend up, and we started to see an immediate impact. The state budget has been significantly cut. The Office of Firearm Injury and Violence Prevention has had some significant cuts. They're our sister office at the state level, and that means resources become more scarce for the local work. The county budget has had some challenges. The city of Seattle budgets have some challenges. And so, what we always have to look at is where can those resources go for the maximum good? And of course, we think our work is a huge contributing factor, but we also know that other departments and other divisions who do life-saving work of different kinds are also fighting for resources. So the hardest thing we're ever facing is being resource-rich enough to sustain the work. Sustainability is critical because the community contribution to public safety is not as old as all the traditional public safety work. Hasn't had the chance to prove itself, to test itself, to grow. And so we have sort of something in its infancy and very mature systems. And when we're worried about where to put the money, we tend to go to the very mature systems because it's a safe bet. And so we're just wanting to make sure we continue to seek the political will, the moral courage, and the financial resources to sustain and continue this incredible positive that we're starting to see happen here in King County.
What I hear you saying, and I definitely don't want to put any words in the mouth of a director, but what I hear you saying, it just sounds pretty straightforward, that it's like gun violence is directly impacted and disrupted through investment. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know. I just never hear it like that when we're out. And it's, I think sometimes people just talk too much. Mm-hmm. It really just comes down to like, hey, what we've seen is when we invest, we bring this down. If it's the public health approach, it's like Seattle invested a lot in fighting COVID. Mm-hmm. It was our investment that made us a world leader. It was our investment all the way around for not even just like mask and PPP, but things like, okay, let's make the bus free. Let's look at people who don't have no food and no groceries right now. Let's surge groceries to people. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different things that our city did, and of course the county, anything else they did that made this world leaders in combating COVID. But we only did that because we had the willingness to invest. That, the King County was willing to be like, hey, you know what? It's better for us to let everybody just, if they need to ride free. For the city of Seattle to invest in that, we need to feed people in our city. That's investment.
That's right.
And, if with this public health lens and approach that you spoke of earlier, then if we're saying, the gun violence is a public health issue, Deaunte says that it's the disease of gun violence. And if we treat it like that, then clearly you have to have investment if we're looking to disrupt and eradicate it.
That's right.
And yeah, I just feel that sometimes when these discussions are had, it's too many layers on it. It's like, I don't know, I just see it real crystal clear. That it's like, man, we need to invest in safety.
And when you use that analogy of COVID, and I'm thinking about what we rapidly across the world brought to scale, we were world class and we were first. But what we did here also allowed other people to copy that and to scale that up. And the difference, is that I don't think everybody understands that gun violence affects us, all of us, directly or indirectly. We knew COVID could affect all of us. We were all fighting for our own lives. We were all afraid for our people right next to us because we had a common theme. We understood that this was a threat to all of us. And I think it's easy for people to say that gun violence isn't a threat to all of us if I never see it, if I don't know about it, but it is a threat to all of our well-being and all of our safety. And so when we treat it like a public health issue, we get past that thing and we recognize that we have that obligation to take care of everybody. And I really appreciate the way you said that. And yes, it is as simple as making sure their resources are there to do the work needed to cure the disease of violence.
Yeah, it's just a light bulb moment for me. It's kind of like with Brad Feingood when public health was talking about the people on fentanyl and people on the streets. And, I kind of viewed it one way. And he said, Omari, man, those are our community members.
That's right.
Those are our King County community members. He said, bro, they don't want to be out there.
That's right.
They don't want to be in that position. And yeah, I mean, that changed my perspective on how I see our people who are struggling, substance abuse, and things like that on the streets, because I changed the lens to be like, these are our King County community members here, right? And with this issue around violence and gun violence and everything else, I think that if we realize that as a King County, as our community, that yeah, sometimes you might not know somebody directly or indirectly, but if we know that this is an effort to keep all of our community safe, then we might look at the approach a little bit differently and more supportive and willing to invest in that.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Now, Deaunte, there is a second part of this, of course, which is the even bigger part. I'm a firm believer that government can't save us. They can definitely do their part in the parts that they're supposed to do and the things that we invest in. But the biggest part of this is community. What can community be doing?
If I had to give a message or a call to action for community, I would honestly just say tap in with us, especially throughout this week, to learn more, to educate yourself more on exactly what our office has to offer. I mean, from our Together We End Gun Violence Week, we do have our Gun Lockbox giveaway this week. We want to make sure that we're providing prevention tools throughout the whole King County. We'll be in Rainier Beach, Skyway, Federal Way, Burien, White Center. We'll be in White Center tomorrow, but Burien, and I'm forgetting one, in Auburn.
Yeah,
in Auburn. Yeah, but we'll be out there throughout Friday. But keep in mind, I just really want people to just know that they can be a part of the solution. So that means also tapping in and learning more about our office. And if you have any referrals or any questions, please tap in. I think a lot of folks aren't really educated on how they can be a part of the solution. They just hear so much about the problem.
That's right.
And I'm really just proud of our survivors over this past year, because we've been able to create men's group, one of the first ever men's group that focuses on men that have lost their loved one to gun violence. Started by my brother Aaron in our office, and we do that every last Monday of every month at Freedom Project. So I want folks to tap in there, and I just really think that, when it comes down to it, it's really all about action. When you say what people can do, that is what we already say here with the county. Be with community. Tap in with us.
And participate in the advocacy. People can go to Olympia and talk to their legislators. They can meet with their executive, the council members, the mayor's office, the mayor's offices throughout the county, and their voice participating in sharing their concerns, letting us know, letting their administrators know. That comes back to us and allows us to better coordinate, to bring in those other departments, to deploy more resources. And the power is in the people. It always has been, it always will be. And there are many points of entry to claim that power. You can contribute to the community organizations. You can join their staff if they're hiring. You can be a part of the Alliance for Gun Responsibility and help shape policy. You can tap in with our office and participate in our events. You can participate in the events of the community organizations that we sponsor and work alongside of. So please also go back to that resource guide that Ariana named and mentioned, where we try to promote and make available things that are happening so that people can get engaged and be involved. The most important thing ever is also for people to share their story and to connect with each other in a meaningful way, because then we get Omari to that place like we were talking about with public health, where we recognize that our friends and neighbors are all part of facing this problem together. And when we say Together We End Gun Violence, we founded that with a group of partners. That is something that's a wonderful rallying cry to bring us all under one umbrella. But we want to shout out the Alliance for Gun Responsibility. We want to shout out the incredible work of the Office of Firearm Injury and Violence Prevention at the state level, and Community Passageways and Urban Family, and a lot of organizations. The office at the University of Washington, formerly known as the Office of Firearm Injury Research and Prevention. These are partners who have all come together to uplift this concept of Together We End Gun Violence. And so that's really important for us to shout out and know as well, that they're important for all community members to know how important their work is, because that's another way they can participate.
Absolutely.
All right, good
and
stuff.
And I also just want to throw out there, I want to just shout out all of our survivors that are out there doing the work. Philana Young, Lisa, the Dosta family, Sawa, Zenobia Harris, Lanisha Landry, who was just here last night, Janine Lewis, I feel like, and I'm just going to be honest, I don't think if it wasn't for our survivors, I don't, they gave me so much fire where I knew that I had to take this position, because they needed answers. They wanted actionary work.
That's right.
They didn't want folks to perform. And I'm just super grateful for every single one of our survivors who are all fighting so we don't have to have someone else join the club.
That's right.
And I appreciate them.
Yep. And we recognize and hold them every day. Deaunte mentioned the light that's in Aaron. I wear this necklace that says the word light every day so that I can make sure to commemorate and remember the light that has been taken from here but is shining bright from above and watching out for all of us. And that's in the young people and the folks that we have lost to this disease of gun violence.
Yeah, well, man, it's real deal. Together We End Gun Violence. And I can't wait to not do this anymore.
That's right.
This has been a big part of Converge programming for I don't know, 5, 6 years. We go way back, even before the existence of your office.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? This is something that's been heavy and it's weighed upon us here. And you can't help but walk into this studio, and you can imagine last night with Janine and Lanisha, you can't help but walk in, you see Elijah Lewis's name there. You know what I'm saying? You see Devon Pickett right over there. And there's quite a few people who are no longer with us, no longer walk amongst us. And so it's a reality for us every day that we're in here. And this is also a very humbling space to be in, because we know who we serve. There's so many family members of people who've lost loved ones that are in. I look at these signatures at times; it can be overwhelming, because so many of these memories of people come back all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the very important work that you do. I'm a real sincere person. If I didn't believe it was important, I would have omitted that word. I just would have said I would acknowledge your work. but I acknowledge the very important work that you do. And also, I think that sometimes people don't understand the extra burden and layer that people in this space carry, because I know that we carry it here on the media side, and I can only imagine being so close, unfortunately, to death and to trauma, to disappointment, and to despair, and being able to find the courage yourself to every day give someone else your best, to give our community your best. As many hands as you've all held, and as many hugs as you've given, and as many tears that you've shed alongside community members, to be able to give hope and inspiration that a better day is on the horizon. And it's not easy, Yeah. And I think the biggest thing about that is that when we realize is that underneath the hard part is to not let your heart get hard. Because it's really easy for your heart to get very hard in this space. It's very easy for your skin to get hard. And so I just want to acknowledge that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And as much as I'm feeling some feelings, though. In my 33 years in this work, I can't forget the sounds and the smells and the feelings like you just named, because they stay with you and they imprint on you. But it's also an honor to carry that, and it's an obligation, and it's a mission. And we work for the government, but we have a whole staff of people who have a mission for this work, regardless of where we work, because it's called all of us, and we owe and are giving to it because it comes from a much deeper place than a paycheck or a title or an opportunity to have a position. And I will stay humble and true as long as I have the privilege and honor to serve King County. And I'm so grateful for you uplifting this work and staying with me on that journey. I've known you a long time, and you have made an incredible space to uplift these stories. And as hard as it is, you are also helping lead us to hope, and hope matters.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. And man, this is still just the beginning of an incredible week here. Together we end gun violence. And I feel that. I feel that. Sometimes things are like, oh, it's a slogan or this and that, but man, I feel that. And the sooner we can all be together, I think the sooner that we can find a solution. We've gone a long, long time, overtime here tonight, but it's all good. I'm sure we'll make up for it somewhere else in the week. I want to thank my guests, Deaunte Damper and Eleuthera Lisch and Ariana Donneville for being with us here. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night at 9 p.m. as the conversation continues here on The Pop-Up. Until then, peace.